What's up, everybody? It's April Dawn. I'm here to do my Underground Season 2 season finale review. It was jam-packed from the beginning to the end. My God, it was a little bit quieter than it was last season. There were no happy endings, people. Okay, there were no happy endings. So first of all, before we get started, forgive me. They're mowing the grass outside, so it might get a little loud. You know, you might hear some outside noise. And I have some behind the scenes tea. So Underground Season 3 has not been renewed yet. It has not been renewed for Season 3 yet. So, because WGN, the network, is getting bought by another network. So, what's happening now is that they're shifting the programming. Now, normally I would say, you know, the show is so critically acclaimed and, you know, they would be silly to get rid of it. But they they canceled The Outsiders, which is one of their biggest shows on their network. So, I don't know, but I personally would like to see, but they're already talking about Sony is trying to find Underground a new home. So I don't think it's going to be on WGN anymore next season, if it gets a next season. So y'all, I hope they get a next season, because this show is so good. Like, it would be crazy to not have a third season for the show, a show that's so good. So, you know, we need to make sure we support, because the ratings were kind of down this season from first season. So we need to make sure that we really support and telling people about the show, because we want it to stay on TV. It's a great show. It's an excellent show. So, yeah, I think that I would like to hear what network do you think Underground will be good on? Maybe, like, I think maybe Hulu or Netflix, because that way, you know, when you're on Hulu or Netflix, you have more breathing room. You can do more things. You can take it all the way there. You know what I'm saying? We get to see some good sex scenes and some more gratuitous violence. Okay, basically that's what that means. So, but you know, they can be a little bit more risque with the content. But I would like to see it go to one of those networks, a streaming service. But I want to hear your thoughts. Let me know what you think. So let's go ahead and get into tonight's episode. So y'all, my notes are a little scatterbrained, so I'm just gonna go storyline by storyline, okay? So we'll start off with Harriet, since she really didn't have a storyline for this episode. So remember the last episode when she was talking to God, you know, in church, and she was talking about how she was nervous. She didn't know if she wanted to step into this soldier role that she, you know, is being asked to by Frederick Douglass and John Brown. So at the beginning of the episode, she's in a safe house, and someone knocks on the door. She gets her gun, you know, because she's ready to pop somebody if need be. Okay, so she opened the door, and, you know, he says that he's one of John Brown's Secret Six. And, you know, he comes in, he said he has a message for her that's directly from John Brown. And basically he says they're going to raid an armory. So this is real. This happened in real history, guys. Okay. So they wanted to raid an armory to get weapons, because now we're talking about forming an army. So this is where our Harriet character makes her decision that now she's going to be a fighter. She's not just going to be a citizen, she's going to be a soldier, right? The theme for the whole season, citizen or soldier. So he tells her that he has one more request, because she's like, okay, I'm down with the raid, you know, it's all good. And he's like, okay, well, she has, John Brown has one more request, excuse me, that he wants you to be a part of the raid. So she was the only woman in history to ever, you know, help raid an armory. Like, she's historic, y'all. When I tell you she deserved to be on that $20 bill, it might not be the best way to memorialize her, being that she was a slave, and, you know, slave was considered property, and, you know, that whole thing. And then Andrew Jackson on the other side, I think, oh God, it's a mess. So, but she deserves some type of, you know, national recognition that people see every single day. Just like, you know, George Washington and everybody else. She helped build, you know, one of the foundations of this country, which is equal. Okay, all men are created equal. That's in the Constitution, right? Just saying. Declaration of Independence is in one of them. Declaration, I think. So You know, that's that. That's really all we got from her this whole episode, okay? So, we're gonna go to Daniel. Daniel's plot line this episode was, it was very good, y'all. At the beginning, he basically told the story of how he got, you know, how they blinded him. They burned his eyes with lye after they caught him, you know, teaching other slaves how to read. And so the wife had a baby boy, and so they took the baby boy in the house basically to hold him hostage. And so, I mean, he basically said, y'all can tell me if I'm wrong, that the master is gonna sell his wife and his child away. Okay, so you know, I know that I did not hear whether or not if he was gonna sell him away, but I don't think he would, since he's such a valuable slave and he makes money for him. So he probably would sell his wife and child away. So he was like, I have to get my family, you know. So Noah and Elizabeth and everybody, Elizabeth is gung-ho. She ready to go steal his wife and his children. She about that action. What y'all talking about? Okay, so everybody else is like, girl, you know, Rosalee is like, we don't know the lay of the land. We don't know the plantation. We don't know anything about this place, you know. And then Georgia is like, so you talking about going on a military type expedition, okay, to get one family? And Noah is like, well, if we're not doing this to go get one man and his family, you know what I'm saying, what's the point of us doing this or whatever? So Noah is, you know, he is turning into a soldier, okay? We can see this metamorphosis in him to where he was so afraid, so scared, you know, and always making mistakes and always have plans that don't work out, till now his plan's getting better. He making less mistakes. He's less fearful. He's more brave and courageous and ready to go fight for freedom. He understands that just them having their freedom is not going to, you know, stop the problems that's going on in the world, or it's not going to be okay just because they're free. Because, I mean, they not slaves, but they still in bondage in a certain, you know, in a certain aspect. So Noah is like, you know, this is where we're doing. So they decide they're going to go into the people's house or to the plantation, and they're going to get his family. So, I'll talk about Noah and Rosalee later, but they talk to each other. They have a conversation, and Noah sets off to go get this family. So Noah and Elizabeth and the crew, they arrive at the place. They get into the house. Noah sneaks the baby out. He almost got caught, but he sneaks the baby out. He got the baby. They pretty much get everything, but then something happens. They have some hostages in the house, and they have to get out of there, okay? So Elizabeth comes around the corner, baby, and she, caca! I said, wait a minute, Liz. Wait a minute, Liz. She shot them like straight, like, I don't even, girl, like a gangster. Y'all remember on the movie, what's the movie with Denzel Washington, American Gangster, when he walk up to the man on the street and shoot him dead in his chest on the street? That's how it was, like, but we got to go. Boom, I ain't got time, okay? Because the man's like, I don't want to hurt you. I don't want to hurt you, you know, just let her go or whatever. And the man's like, I'm not going to let her go. He have a slave. You know, he like, I'm not going to let her go because what you going to do to me? And Elizabeth just walk in the room and shoot him and keep walking. I said, God, dog. So Elizabeth, straight soldier. She made this choice like 2 episodes ago. She was going to be a soldier. So we already know she about that action. She's not playing no games. She ready to set it off up in this piece. Okay. So she shoot the man. Everybody leave. They got the slaves. They on the run. The militia is after them and they get stopped up. You know, in like a little hiding house. Daniel is like, well, just save who you can. You know, take who you can. And you know, that's it. Just run. And Noah's like, we ain't running. We got guns. We got people with 2 hands that can fight, and we're gonna have to fight for our freedom today. They said blood, you know, it's gonna be blood shed on the path to freedom, but ain't nobody said it gotta be ours. I said, I know that's right. So they got their guns, and they went out and they fought the men. You know, it was like, you know, it wasn't a whole lot of men, but you know, it was a good little amount, about 10, 15. You know, they shooting here. Elizabeth just shooting people, just killing people like a straight assassin out here, just shooting people like it's a video game, child. And I was 100% here for it. Okay, so Elizabeth out here popping people, killing people left and right. Noah out here killing people. They handling business, okay? So that was that for that. And they come back the next morning to find that Georgia and Rosalee are gone. Noah finds the baby, and we'll talk about that at the end, later on at the end of the review, or later on in the review, okay? So now let's go to Ernestine, August and Ernestine. Okay, so August and Ernestine are together, and you know, they go back to his house. So they're going back south, because if you recall in first season that August doesn't live that far away from the plantation, from the Macon plantation. He lived in that general area, okay? So August goes back home, and he takes Ernestine with him. So he's back home, and he comes to find his wife and his slave buried in front of his house. So I don't know, because I want to say that his wife was alive when we left them in last season, and so was the slave. So we don't even know how long he's been gone. I don't know if they got sick and died. You don't know what happened. But, you know, back in them times, it's not like they can call him on the phone. You know, they didn't know where he was. So he just wasn't in contact with them. So obviously he's very upset at this point. And he's reeling because I really think he was more hurt about the slave than he was hurt about his wife or whatever. Ernestine asked who it was, and she said it was his slave. I think this, y'all, and you can tell me what you think about Jay the slave. I think that his slave was possibly somebody that his dad, you know, wanted him, maybe his father's slave, somebody that was passed down to him, because August is a very poor person. I don't think that he could afford, you know, to purchase a slave himself. So I think that's something that maybe was passed down to him. That's why he was so sentimental, because it seems as if Jay is the person who taught him how to hunt, how to fight, how to do all these different things. He was like a father figure to him. So that means to me that he's and you know, he was older than him, like a father. So to me, that signals that I have known you since I was a little child, you know, all the way into my adulthood life. So I want to say that, you know, he was passed down to August, and you know, and they, you know, he just never left. Like he said, I don't think the slave necessarily wanted to leave because he had a decent life. It's not like they had him in chains or they was beating him or nothing like that. You know, he lived a normal regular life. But you know, even if he did run, August wouldn't chase him. Remember, he said that in season 1. So he was really upset about that. And Ernestine gives him a rag with the drug on it. Okay, I don't know if she gave him the rag to like wipe his tears or for him to get high. Either way, he got high. I just love how they play that music too, and how it, like, you know, it distorts and stuff when they're playing and when they're getting high. So she used this opportunity. I was like, Ernestine does not miss the opportunity to run, honey. Because I was like, you could have gave him a little sympathy right there, even though he the devil. But, you know, still, I felt bad for him in that moment. But she was like, girl, boo, bye, 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 boy, and ran. Okay, so she ran away from him, and then he catches her. So right when he catches her, or when he's catching up to her, she stops, comes to a stop, only to find that they are in front of the Macon house, the big house that Rosalee and Noah burned down. Okay, so they realize, you know, they're in front of the big house. It's like nothing there anymore. The plantation is deserted. I'm sure everybody's gone. They done sold everybody away and left. So, you know, Ernestine is just like, well, what now? I don't know, you know, what now? And so August is just like, you know, he just looking like, I don't know. Okay, so basically she goes to him and says, you know, well, when we come back from the break, he's sitting by a tree. Later on, he's sitting by the tree with a gun to his head, and you can tell he's getting ready to kill himself. So Ernestine bends to him, and she said, I don't know if you deserve to be forgiven because all the horrible things you've done. You know, my daughter survived you, but there's many others who have not survived you. You know, you've done horrible things, X, Y, Z. But she says we don't always have to feed the darkest part of ourselves. And so she takes the gun down from him, and then she just gets up and walks away. So I want to say that Ernestine is probably going to be on a quest back to get her, you know, get back to her people, get back to her kids one way or the other, whatever family she have left, okay? So, you know, and Augustine, maybe he'll find a new path for the 3rd season when we get to the 3rd season. Maybe he'll turn into one of the good people. Maybe he'll fight for the Union. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, you know, something will happen for him. So, I'm not exactly sure what's going to happen with this. So, I don't know. So, let's go to Noah and Rosalee. So Noah and Rosalee, their relationship is a little contentious at this point because, you know, she lied. They had a big blow up last week. So like I said, when Noah and Elizabeth and the crew, they decide they want to go and rescue Daniel's family, you know, he comes up and he's getting ready to go. And so that's when Rosalee is like, you don't know this, you don't know that about the plane, you know, this is dangerous, X, Y, and Z. And they have a discussion about fear. She says, I am like my father, you know, I'm fearful. He did everything out of fear. And if you remember, Tom Macon was the most weakest. Oh my God, it was horrible. He was very weak. He did everything out of fear. She was correct. Every decision he made. So I'm like him in that aspect, you know, how do I get rid of that fear? And Noah says, y'all, Aldous Hodge is killing it. He hadn't really got a whole lot at the beginning of the season, a lot of dialogue, but what he did get, baby, he killed it. Killed, okay? So he basically gives this monologue and speech about how you can't let fear overtake you. You got to use that fear to help it keep you going, because fear can paralyze you, can make you stop fighting, can make you give up, but we can't use that fear. And when I was thinking about the house I would build, it was about protecting you and my child. But now that the child is here in this world the way it is, I see that dream was very small, so basically he's telling her, I'm about to go fight, girl, and be a soldier and help free everybody, help change this world. Okay, that's how we fight. We change the world. And he said the same thing when he was in the cabin with them with the guns. This is how we change the world, not by running. We can't run nowhere and solve our problems. We have to stay here and we have to fight and change what we need to fight. People, message. Did you get the message? Okay, so and stand up for what's right in the name. Hello. So anyway, so, she says, and he says, it's not like I don't want to forgive you. It's just I don't know if I can. So, he's getting his stuff together, like he's very upset. So their relationship is really at an impasse at this point, but they're going to find their love again, because you can tell he still loves her. He definitely still loves her. So she says, you don't have to right now. All you need to do is come back home. I said, yes, Rosalee, you mad at me, but baby, I love you and you need to come back to me. Okay. And you can be mad as long as you're with me and you alive. I said, oh my God, it's beautiful. So, that was that. So Rosalee is in the house with James, and so they have a talk about, Ernestine, and he wants to know will he ever see his mom again, and she, just trying to comfort him, and they have a little moment with the baby kicking, and, that type of situation. Like, I feel bad for James most of all, because he done been turned in and out. He been out in the field, back in the house, stolen, on the road, now your sister gone, your mama gone, everybody gone, you don't have no family with you anymore. So, I feel bad for him. So, they have their little talk. And later on, what happens is Cato and the crew come to the house. They start shooting, and everybody. Well, I'm gonna go this way. So let's go ahead and talk about it. So at the house, what happens is Cato. So because their storyline is gonna converge. So Cato, he's been in the house. At the beginning of the episode, we see him in a room with somebody. Talking to them about being the greatest slave catcher ever and X, Y, and Z. And then all of a sudden he says, say it. And she says, I am Patty Cannon. But when they show the young lady, she is not Patty Cannon, honey. We don't know who she is, but she ain't no Patty Cannon. So I'm like, what is going on? He is killing me. He is, what is he into some freaky deaky type? What? Okay. So you can tell he's romanticized by this slave catcher idea. He's taking on this, idea as this is what he want to be, y'all. Cato is officially uninvited to the cookout. I forgot to say that. That nigga can't come. Okay? He is denied. His black card is pulled. Okay? You are no longer one of us. Okay? Who we gonna take in the racial draft is what we gonna take. Elizabeth. We gonna give you Cato and we gonna take Elizabeth, because we tired of Cato. I was on team Cato the whole time. I just can't. Okay? I can't with him. So anyway, I'm sorry I had a moment. So Cato is with the prostitute. It's really weird. So he basically tells them that Rosalee is in the house, and they go and they converge on the house. He says he knows where Harriet is or whatever. So they converge on the inn where Georgia and them. Now, Georgia got guns everywhere, so they lock up the house. They getting ready to shoot. And they do a little shooting battle, back and forth, excuse me. But they eventually, Patty's gang wins, and so, they take Georgia and everybody hostage. Georgia and other people. I don't know who the other people are. They take them all hostage. So Rosalee has bombarded herself up in the back room, or one of the rooms, the hidden rooms. And so she's bombarded herself in there. So when she opened the door to go back there, she saw Cato, or when she was closing the door, Cato came out of the shadows. Because if you remember, when he was sneaking around the house, he found the tunnel and the crawl space. So he knew where to go. So she was shocked and amazed, you know how Cato is. You thought you saw a ghost, huh, girl? House girl, that's why he gives you a line. I'm not black, I'm O.J. Simpson. Okay, that's it. He give you that line. I'm not a nigga, I'm just Cato. Or whatever. So child, bye. With Cato, bye. You still one of us. Don't get it twisted. It is what it is. So, just like the people came in there and took your whole house. Okay? Took your whole house in 5 minutes, Cato. Don't do this. So, anyway, Cato comes in and, you know, they basically have her locked in the room. So, she's in there with James. They're trying to figure out what they're going to do until, or trying to hold their own until Noah and Elizabeth and them get back. So, you know, the whole episode, you know, and then she starts having the baby. So apparently she's been having the baby like the whole time, okay? And she haven't said nothing. So the baby been coming. So she telling James, you know, get the water boiling, you know, lose yourself in the work. Like the mom said, just don't think about it, just lose yourself in the work. He said, I don't know what you're talking about because mama, you know, she ain't let us up in there when she was birthing baby. So I don't know what you're talking about. So, you know, she have the baby, y'all. Has the baby come out of her. Picks up the baby. Holding the baby. The baby is here, but guess what? The baby is free because when you're born in free territory, you free. You free. So the baby is going to be a free person, okay? Regardless of what happens to the mom or the dad, okay? And this one I be telling y'all, the sacrifice these people made is real. Do you understand me? It's so real. So she has the baby. And they come eventually what happens is that Cato, you know, tells her, you're going to have to come out. So she tells James, or I'm going to shoot everybody, basically is what he says. I'm going to shoot everybody in there. You're going to come out. So she gives James the baby, tells, you know, hold the head, the baby not this and that and other. Get into this little small space they have in the wall. And so she opens the door and they take her. Okay, and that's it. And so she says, tell Noah, I forgot that part, tell Noah to come find me. So we don't know where she's going. We don't know if she's going to be a slave, if he's going to try to make her his girlfriend, or because, you know, he kind of like her. It's weird as hell, okay? So he could do that, keep her as some type of concubine. He could sell her back into slavery, but my thing is because he said, I'm about to give them okay, so let me go back. So Cato is in the house. Before this happens, Cato was in the house with Patty. And so, you know, that's when they're standing behind Rosalee's door trying to get in. So he tells her, you know, that's not important. I know what Harriet is. He pulls out a letter. The letter says she's by, you know, the first light of the moon by the Devil's Green. You know, that's the Raggedy Bridge. So he tells her, you know, come, I'm going to show you or whatever. So they go to the place and they're with the writer. I think his name is Donahue. They go with the writer and, you know, and she's like, okay, Harriet is in there. So she got the gun like she going to shoot and and he's like, you're not going to confront her? You're not going to go face to face? Now, Donahue said that. So she goes into the cabin and she's, you know, poking around. She's like, she's not here. She's not here. And so when she turns around, Cato takes out a rifle and shoots her dead in her head. Okay. And then he tells the guy, you know, her Patty's biggest problem was that she believed her own legend. And so he says that he's going to take over her business now. And he already found a new Patty Cannon. So the prostitute that he hired is really going to be a new Patty Cannon, you know, dummy. And he's really going to be running the business. Donahue says, well, how are you going to get the men to listen to you? And he says, well, you know, all people need a master. You know, the color really don't matter. So, and then I'm about to give them their biggest score, which is the Black Rose. But this is my issue. There is no more Macon Ranch. Okay, I mean, Macon Plantation. There's no more Macon Plantation. It don't exist no more. So that money that you was gonna get for Rosalee is not gonna, you're not gonna get it because it is not there no more. So yeah, so how is that gonna turn out for you, Cato? Your grand scheme and plan, it's not gonna work because you already got issues with the plan. So that was what happened. So he done totally went over to the dark side. I don't mess with him no more. I don't mess with him no more. We not cool no more. He, like I said, he ain't invited to the cookout. We pulled the card. It's done. Okay? Peace out. I can't with Cato. I'm so upset about it. So, yeah, later on he goes, he gets Rosalee, and that's all for them. So, when after everything happens, Noah and Elizabeth make it back to the house. They find that Georgia is gone. So, we don't know. And James says that they find James and they find the baby. And James says that Cato took everybody. They took everybody. And, you know, he has the baby. But Noah is kind of like in a daze. This is where the quietness of the scene came in because, you know, last year was so exciting with the Harriet Tubman introduction. But, you know, this year it ended kind of quiet because even though he was upset about Rose being gone, I mean, he really didn't seem that upset. But I guess, you know, it is what it is at this point. Maybe he just charged her to the game or whatever. So, you know, he seemed like he was so happy because the new baby, he understood why she left the baby, because, you know, the baby has been born into freedom and the baby will be free now. So I think that, you know, he was so like elated because, you know, never in 1,000,000,000 years would you ever think that your child would be free by law, you know, legally free. And so I think this is going to inspire him even more so to go be a part of the Union Army. And so that's how we end the episode, y'all. It was a very quiet ending. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Oh, I want to say that James, he stabbed a little boy during the, he stabbed one of the men in the hand during the fight. I was like, come on, James, you better fight. Okay, yes, James. So that was great. They did get Daniel's family. That was also great. I forgot that. Yeah, I don't want to make sure I forgot anything. Yeah, so that's it. So at the very end of the episode, we see Elizabeth in the bed with somebody. And she's getting out of the bed. It looks, he says, they need me at the armory. I can't stay. So I want to say that the Union, I don't know, y'all, what the Union uniforms were they gray or blue? Because I want to say she's a spy in the Confederate Army, but she was walking out putting the lantern right there on the Devil's Grin. So I didn't know if maybe she was working with the Union Army, or the Armory had taken over that particular place in the Union, you know, because people had uniforms on. It's 10 months later. We don't know where anybody is. We don't know if Elizabeth is, you know, where Georgia and Rosalee and Noah are. We have no idea where Harriet, we have no idea where any of these characters are, but we fast forwarded 10 months in the future, and Elizabeth is now working for the cause, mind, body, and soul, honey. She laid up. Okay, so should be interesting when we get the next season. So I thought this season was a good one. I think that the way the season played out, they're setting us up for a third season, and for us to really dramatize the Civil War and, you know, stories that go on within the Civil War. I hope to see Daniel again in season 3. I hope to see Noah go fight. I hope to see him and Rosalee work it out. I hope to actually see Ernestine, you know, connect with some of her family members or find love for herself or something like this, okay? And I would also like to see some new characters, or maybe we can go back and revisit Clara. I found out another thing about those plantations. So apparently at that time, you know, a lot of the African peoples had, you know, they were immune to certain diseases that you get from begetting, you know, in some of the Africans that were brought over, right, that were slaves, they were immune to certain diseases that the white people were not. So when mosquitoes started biting in that area, some of the white people started getting sick. So a lot of the masters, they would move away. So this is why Clara had the power. His son had the power, because the father had moved away, and they kind of, that is why on these plantations, they retained so much of their culture. It's because they sort of were self-governing themselves. They had more time to themselves. That's why we saw a lot of people just walking around, you'd be like, you ain't at work? I mean, I don't understand. Just chilling, just doing whatever. I think it was kind of like, if you do your job type thing, that we not tripping, you know what I mean? So they still could preserve some of their culture and some of their heritage, okay? So yeah, that explains a lot with the South Carolina the slaves. So I want to hear you guys' thoughts about what you thought about the episode. I thought it was a good review. It wasn't like I said, it wasn't super exciting, but it was very good. It was very good. Acting, excellent. Great season. Let's hope and pray that we get a season 3 on some network, okay? So I think that's going to be it for me, y'all. I'm doing Shots Fired review as soon as I can today. And then I'm also going to, I think that I'm going to start reviewing. I'm not sure. Tell me what you think. If you think I should review Dear White People, I'm definitely going to do Insecure when it comes back in June. And I may do Power. May. Okay? I'm not dead set on doing Power because I love the show, but I don't know if I want to review it. But, you know, I may do it. So just tell me what you think. And if you have any show suggestions, you guys let me know, okay? So y'all have a blessed week. I'll see you next time. Peace.